Hello and welcome to What's Map for Cities Skylines, your one-stop shop for everything workshop. There are thousands of items on the workshop now, so finding the right one for your next city build is a huge task. So each day, Monday to Saturday, we'll review some using our 5-star rating and the coveted seal of approval. So join me, fellow Skylines explorers, as we venture out to today's new land. Who am I? I'm BonBonB, and you are very, very welcome.
Come here now, girl.
Hello and welcome to What's Map, your one-stop shop for everything workshop. BonBon here. How you doing? Right, it's Thursday, which means only one thing. Yes, it's Throwback Thursday, when we go and have a look through the archives of the workshop and find some maps that are well over a year old and see if they still stand up by today's standards. Now, if you remember last week, we had a look at a map called a T22 Timber Snow by Water. It wasn't particularly brilliant. I mean, we've seen worse, but it wasn't good at all. Anyway, after doing the show, on the Sunday, I noticed on the front page of the workshop, most popular maps of the week, Timber Snow was in 6th place. What? Why? Anyway, not only that, but you guys subscribed to it more so, and it actually jumped to 5th place before starting to fade back down the charts again. I don't understand why, but bless you for supporting Water in their map from yesteryear. I don't know if they realised that they did so well. Today's map is Santa Barbara by Jesse Rockwell 26. Now, this is a pretty good looking map, if I'm honest with you. Your start square, notice a little bit of highway that you can connect to in the top left hand corner of the start square. Not too much there, we'll look at that closer a bit later. There's your resources, a blob of oil, and that's about it apart from forestry. And then if we have a look at the Steam workshop, what do you need? We need a few bits. There is a dedicated Santa Barbara theme. You do need snowfall, probably for the textures for the theme itself. After Dark's also required. A few trees, but that's about it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to look at the roads and the rail together, because there is only one main highway connection and one rail connection. So we're going to follow this pretty much all the way across the map. The roads look there's pretty good control on the roads, if I'm honest with you. Look, there's equidistant all the way. In a few moments it'll start to look a little bit lumpy bumpy though, okay? We've got a little bit of glitching. We'll see a bit of glitching in a minute as well down the centre of the highways. But yeah, a little bit lumpy bumpy. Now if we come in and actually at highway level, though it looks lumpy, that's fairly realistic, if I'm honest with you. So it's one of those things that it looks worse from up here than it is from down there. Now we've got the glitching where we're building on a slight slope. I think once again a little bit of terraforming here or landscaping would have just about made this a little bit better. Also the slope on the rails a bit steeper than realism would have allowed. So I think just a little bit of terraforming on the route for both the highway and the rail, just to smooth things out a little bit, would have been preferable. Anyway, just off of here we've got this connection, which we'll come back and have a look at in a minute. It goes off into the hills. We won't look at it now. I know a couple of you are going, oh, I've seen it already. Yes, I know you've seen it already. You are bright buddies, you are. And I'm proud to have you on my team. But we'll come back and look at that in a minute. Getting down towards the start square, and what we'll do is we'll fly past the start square and come back and look at it like here. Right, we're going to come back to that. So we'll just go and have a look at the edge of the map, because it just dips away a little bit down the end there. Shall we have a look at that? Yeah, we'll have a look at dips away a little bit. Once again, I'd like to see that smoothed out just a little bit. It's not horrific, a bit too steep once again for the rail, but there we are. Here's where your start square is, that little bend of highway that cuts into the start square, which is like kind of aligned a little bit like this-ish. Okay, that's rectangle, but you know what I mean. So you haven't got a lot of room here to build your intersection, plus that rail's going to get in the way. So it's going to be a little bit tricky to start you off. I would like to have seen like a nice intersection laid down just to get you started, and then you can tweak it later, even if it was that awful wishbone intersection. Now this intersection here, of course, only enters onto the one highway. You can't get onto the other highway from it. So yes, that's once again not a proper intersection, but maybe it's like that in real life. Maybe it is. I don't believe it for 1 minute. Plus, we've got the route coming up the other way. This is a two-way road. Where's the traffic coming for the opposite direction? I don't know. So once again, it looks like a little bit of an error going on here. And this has probably just been put down because the road exists in real life and they're trying to replicate it. But in terms of gameplay, this road is completely worthless at the moment. But we'll see how it looks as we head off into the hills. And like I say, it's a pretty good control here, but every now and then we get these little elevated sections. I don't mind the elevated sections if they look okay, but that just doesn't look right at all, I'm afraid. Bend right again, coming up this way and that other way and this away again. Yeah, we'll see a little bit more of the elevated section work in a minute, like here. This is slightly better than the first one, but once again, just doesn't look right. And then we'll fare on again. See, this is better. There's an elevated section with Terraform. That looks good. Why didn't we see that previously? I don't know. Here, once again, I think this should have been landscaped up and terraformed in just to take the weight of the road rather than have it elevated. It just doesn't look right, I'm afraid. We've got some overhanging trees, and that's not the worst of them. We'll see slightly worse in a minute, and you'll gulp. You'll gulp. See how they're overhanging here, there, and there. We'll have a closer look in a moment. Here we are. Look at this one. This was particularly bad. Somebody needs to get the tree surgeon out to hack that back. Yeah. So it's because it's been built down the side and side of that hill. And we're kind of like just lost all hope of having a decent another one down here. It's pretty bad again. Luckily there's no traffic, because the other thing with this road is, and yes, this was built back in yesteryear before we could do special highway connections. This does connect to the outside of the map. It just isn't an outside connection. So maybe you need to mod that if you take on this map. Anyway, it's time for one of those things. One of those things called an asset review. Now today's one, we're going back to see Mr. King Leno himself. Look at this. Asset corner's been redeveloped. There's a road cutting right through it because we have got this beautiful thing, Hernando de Soto Bridge by King Leno. Now this is a nice piece of work. I've not seen a bridge from King Leno before, and so used to commercial buildings. This is really nice. Now if you're looking at this going, yeah, I wouldn't know what to do, how to do that, I do have a really good tutorial out there. I'm going to link it at the end of the show, so you can just do a one-click watch at the end of the show as well. So don't worry, you won't be completely lost. It's really simple to actually do a custom bridge like this, or how to use one. So Hernando de Soto Bridge by King Leno, and that is today's fantastic asset of the day. Alright, so we're back to Yakutorian Tropic by Kanya with Starberglut. We're now into Nightfall, the second half of the week. Statistics indicate that more murderers come from Yorkshire than any other English county, which I'm sure will be of a great consolation to anybody living in America watching this show, or any other country for that matter. King Henry VI's murder at the Tower of London in 1471 is commemorated each year by representatives of the educational establishments he founded, King's College in Cambridge and Eton. Roses and lilies are laid at the spot where he died. Oh, that's sweet, isn't it? I never knew that, despite having read this 3 times. One more, what do you think? More death. 2 American tramps died in 1903, apparently of cleanliness. They were given their first bath for 20 years and scrubbed down with a broom, and the experience proved too much for them. Anyway, yes, that's enough of that. Shipping routes. I managed to skip straight. I've got completely reading, got my head stuck in the book. Shipping routes you saw, just one there. And water flow, there's a little bit, mostly coming from the outside of the map, pushing its way across. So yes, I think a little bit more water flow would be helpful. There's nothing coming down these little ravines at all, so don't think that that's there's a little water source there. Nope, it's just what's coming in from the edge of the map. Okay, what's next? Let's have a look at the detailing and stuff. The beaches. Well, we've got some variation in coasts, including some nice looking beaches here. Don't mind a few trees on the beaches, but when there's too many, or when there's swimming trees. I mean, if you can have a swim in the brook, why not? Why not, Mr. Trees? Have a swim in the brook, because you look really good there. You look like you're meant to be in there, don't you? Just basically poor tree brushing, I'm afraid. Very poor. And then, like I say, we've got quite a few trees on these beaches. Do the trees like the sand? And of course, if you're talking about a beach, it's going to be tidal. So will they like the water? I don't know. I would have preferred fewer trees actually down on the sand. But what do I know? I know nothing. I talk absolute gibberish. And you guys listen, and I don't understand. Have you got nothing better to do? We've got these another little inlet there. It's not the most splendiferous of inlets. Another inlet here. And once again, trees in the inlet where they probably wouldn't be. We've got this little harbour down here. This harbour's good shape, good design. And once again, one little tree on its own, minding its own business, having a paddle. We've had a look at the actual roads. If you have a look at the actual terraforming, the build planes, it's not perfectly flat, which is good because it just adds a little bit of interest, a little bit of undulation. Nothing too difficult for building on, so that will suit the average player or even the beginner as well. It's not a bad map for the beginner to get stuck into, I would suggest. Although, like I say, there are definitely a few gameplay issues with regarding, well, we'll get to them in a minute. We go up into the hills, and the hills are alive with lots of foliage. I like this. We did have that map earlier this week, the hills were a little bit too. So it's San Andreas Bay, wasn't it? The hills were a little bit too dead. You look at this map, and you can imagine it's the same sort of territory. Do you think Santa Barbara? I don't know where Santa Barbara is, but it can't be far from San Andreas, surely. And this looks much more alive and feels much more with it. And once again, the trees kind of like in the valleys where the water would run down. So I think that's a better tree coverage for this particular map than San Andreas. So anyway, what do we think? What do we think of this map? Okay, aesthetically, like I say, good use of trees. I think it looks pretty reasonable. And the theme, I like the theme as well. Good theme. I think we'll give that 4 stars for aesthetics. Detailing, I think overall, at best, it's a 3. But there are the drowned trees, and we've got 1 or 2 issues with the intersection, etc. I think I've got to drop it down to a 2. Don't want to, but it is an older map, and it's not unusual to see low score for detail for older maps. Gameplay potential, I think it doesn't jump to the next level, but I think there's just about enough to generate a 3rd star, as long as you don't mind having to fix a couple of problems first. Santa Barbara by Jesse Rockwell 26, today's Throwback Thursday map. Ooh, well, thanks for watching, commenting, liking and subscribing. Join me tomorrow for our Patreon voted map, the map of the week, where you guys have picked one of the creator request maps and picked the best one by your opinion. You can join me over on Patreon. It costs you $1, but yeah, it'll give you a chance to pick out your favourite maps. And of course, there's a full map list which you can view for free. Okay, that's it. That's me done. See you tomorrow. Have a great day, and thanks for watching.